Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, overview of chapter 10. Today we are doing Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiyed. Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavatyuttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nishtaki Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pankum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Guru Deenadarinam Paramanandamadavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nidhinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Madega Bandho Matsangin Madguru Manmahadhana Mannistaraga Madbhagya Madananda Namostute. The 10th chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is about Krishna leaving Hastinapura to Dwaraka. This chapter has a total of 36 shlokas where it describes how Krishna is leaving Hastinapura, the scene where Krishna leaves Hastinapura. So, in the previous chapter we saw how Krishna showed mercy to Bhishma Deva, gave him darshan at the time of leaving his body, and then Krishna and Yudhishthira and everybody goes back to the palace in Hastinapura. They are consoling everybody, and then there is a brief description about Maharaj Yudhishthira's rule. So in the 10th chapter, Shaunaka Rishi is asking Yudhishthira about Shaunaka Rishi is asking Suta Goswami about Maharaja Yudhishthira's rule, and Suta Goswami is replying. He says that Vamsham Kuror Vamsha Davagni Nirhritam Samrohayitva Bhava Bhavano Hari Niveshayitva Nijarajya Ishvaro Yudhishtiram Prita Mana Babhuvaha. Suta Goswami says, Lord Sri Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the maintainer of the world, became pleased after re-establishing Maharaja Yudhishthira in his own kingdom and after restoring the Kuru dynasty, which had been exhausted by the bamboo fire of anger. So, Suta Goswami is explaining that now having re-established Yudhishthira, Krishna became very pleased. And how did the entire Kuru Vamsha destroy each other? It is said that just as bamboo trees in a forest cause fire by rubbing against each other, there is no external cause in a forest fire where it is full of bamboos. It is always when two bamboo trees are rubbing against each other, they will create fire. So like this, when there is enmity within families, within societies, within countries, it actually causes davagna. It causes actually huge fire. It causes wars. So here Kuru dynasty also went through that period where the relatives were fighting amongst each other, and finally Dharma was re-established by Krishna, and Krishna was very pleased that Yudhishthira had now become the ruler of Hastinapura. He had become the Chakravarti, and Maharaj Yudhishthira, because he had taken instructions from Bhishma Deva and also from Sri Krishna, he ruled the earth with all his younger brothers acting as his advisors, his ministers, his commanders in chief. Yudhishthira was the ideal ruler or the ideal emperor of the world. And in that kingdom, it is explained by Suta Goswami that in Yudhishthira's kingdom there was rain, more than enough rain was being supplied. Earth produced all the produces in abundance. And all the fat cows, their udders full of milk, they were actually pouring excess milk, on the soil, and the earth was becoming moist by the excess milk from the udder of the cows. And rivers, oceans, hills, mountains, forests, everyone was profusely growing and making produce, and the king was able to collect taxes profusely. So Srila Prabhupada explains there that the ideal king is one who acts as the representative of God. Even in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that among men I am king. That means I am chief of men. When a ruler considers that everything is the Lord's property and I am the caretaker in chief, then such a country will run very nicely. And it is continuing. Suta Goswami continues to say that the subjects or the praja in Yudhishthira's nation, they were totally undisturbed by mental agonies, diseases, excessive heat or cold. That means because he was maintaining dharma very nicely, and because Yudhishthira Maharaja was Ajata Shatru, he knew how to rule in a dharmic way, and that way he also did not create unwanted enmity, and because of that the praja were very, very peaceful, and they had absolutely no agony, because everybody understood that the land that I am cultivating, that is not belonging to me, that is belonging to the Supreme Lord, and the king is the caretaker and he is allotting the farmlands. People are living, everybody is taking what they need, and that way everybody lives very prosperously at the same time without any agony. Srila Prabhupada says that the modern society should actually observe how this whole thing was working so wonderfully, and so many things we need to learn from it. How the existing system can be corrected, it can be learned by observing how the great personalities of the ancient times of Bharata, how they managed all these things so wonderfully. And the center point in all these things is the Supreme Lord Krishna. We must understand that. And that is how actually any society can work very peacefully. So, in answer to Shaunaka Rishi's question, Suta Goswami explains how wonderfully Yudhishthira was ruling and how all the prajas were very happy. And then Krishna is getting ready to go back to Dwaraka. If you ask whether the Dwaraka Vasis are very lucky or whether the Kurus were very lucky, there will always be two opinions. Because Krishna, his palace is in Dwaraka, his wives are in Dwaraka, his praja is in Dwaraka, his family is in Dwaraka. Even though all these things are there in Dwaraka, Krishna also ended up spending a lot of time with the Pandavas, with the Kurus. In Indraprastha, in Hastinapura, Krishna also spent quite a lot of time. Now, Krishna is beginning to start his journey back to Dwaraka. So it is said that Krishna actually stayed back after the war. After the war was over, Krishna could have immediately gone back. He didn't go back for two reasons primarily. One is because he wanted to be there as Bhishma Deva left his body. That's one thing Krishna had to do because he is Bhaktavatsala. Bhishma is one of the greatest devotees, so he has to show him that mercy. and Krishna waited back in Hastinapura to visit Bhishma and give him that Krishno darshanam agataha, that Antima darshana Krishna had to give Bhishma Deva. So he was staying back, plus he was also staying back to console all those Kuru, his relatives who had all lost their dear and near ones. And very specifically, Krishna wanted to console his sister Shubhadra, because Shubhadra had lost her only son Abhimanyu, and also even her grandson was put into a great danger. So naturally Subhadra would have been very, very distressed. So it is said that Krishna was staying back along with the Kurus, with Yudhishthira and others, in order for these two things. And then Lord takes permission from Yudhishthira Maharaj to go back to Dwaraka. So Lord pays obeisances to Yudhishthira Maharaj, because we understand that in the familial relationship, Yudhishthira is elder than Krishna. So Krishna always, whenever he meets Yudhishthira, he will first pay obeisances, and he will do alingana to both Bhima and Arjuna. They will embrace them, and he will accept obeisances from Nakula and Sahadeva because they are younger. So Krishna is paying obeisance to Yudhishthira and the other elders present there. He is embracing Bhima, he is embracing Arjuna, then Nakula and Sahadeva, they are paying obeisances to Krishna, and slowly Krishna is getting into his chariot. At that time it is said that because the Lord is, the affection for the Kurus are, so intense for Lord Krishna. It is said, Shubhadra, Draupadi, Kunti, Uttara, Gandhari, Dhritarashtra, Yuyutsu, Kripacharya, Nakula, Sahadeva, Bhimasena, Dhaumya, Satyavati, they all almost fainted because it was impossible for them to bear separation from Krishna. So it shows very graphically how all these Kuru family members were so attached to Krishna in a familial relationship, but you see how fortunate they were, because in that familial relationship they were actually maintaining their relationship with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then Suta is saying that the Pandavas, they are so intimately connected to Krishna. So Suta Goswami says that an intelligent person who has understood the Supreme Lord in association with pure devotees and has become freed from bad materialistic association can never avoid hearing the glories of the Lord, even though he has heard them only once. How then could the Pandavas tolerate his separation? For they had been intimately associated with this person by seeing him face to face, touching him, conversing with him, sleeping, sitting and dining with him. So just to give us an idea of how closely associated the Pandavas were, Suta Goswami is drawing the example or the comparison that even a person who hears about Krishna's wonderful activities just once, he himself will feel so much attraction because of getting purified from the material contaminations due to Krishna Katha Shravanam. So if this is the impact Krishna Katha Shravanam can have on a new hearer, just imagine the Pandavas. How can they bear separation from Krishna? Because they have actually spent time with Krishna. They have actually shared their life moments with Krishna. So that intense separation, Suta Goswami is explaining so nicely. He says that all their hearts were melting for Krishna and they were looking at the Lord with unblinking eyes. These unblinking eyes we will see also when the Gopastris, when the Gopikas are looking at Krishna also. There is a shloka where the Gopikas will curse Lord Brahma for giving eyelids. They say, because these eyelids you have given, you are not a perfect creator. Why? because his eyelids have to blink every now and then, so whenever we blink, we are being cheated from the darshana of Krishna. So, devotees who are very close to Krishna, they always like to look at Krishna unblinking, because they want to drink the nectar of Krishna's beauty through their eyes and capture Krishna in their hearts. This is what a devotee does when he has darshanam of the Lord. So here Suta Goswami says that they were all looking at Krishna with unblinking eyes, because they are all thinking, now Krishna is leaving Hastinapura, we don't know when Krishna will come back, because Kunti has already said, previously Kunti has already expressed, you will always come when we had trouble. And now Kunti is practically worried. Why? Because all trouble has now been finally completely mitigated by Krishna's interference. So Kunti also expresses that, oh my God, now you are not going to come because we don't have any trouble. So the Kurus, the Hastinapura Vasis are also thinking like that, Now the Pandavas have no trouble, so Krishna may not come. So they are all looking at Krishna with unblinking eyes. And it is said that all the women who were related to Krishna through family relationship, they had so much of distress in their heart because Krishna is leaving, but all of them were controlling their tears, because it is said that when somebody is leaving, if you cry, it is an apashakuna. It may bring misfortune. So, although for the Lord there is absolutely no misfortune, but they are looking at the Lord as their relative who is going back to Dwaraka after such a long time to meet his family, his wife, his children, his wives, his sons, etc. So, they don't want any misfortune to befall on their, dear Krishna. So, even though they are having so much, they are feeling so much separation that Krishna is leaving, they are under so much distress, they are very sad, but they are not crying because they don't want to shed their tears. And then as the Lord moves, Yudhishthira had arranged all the wonderful mridangas are playing and they are playing the horn and, full Raja Maryada he was doing for Krishna, because Krishna is also a very powerful king. So while accompanying Krishna to the chariot, so all the Hastinapura, the chaste ladies of Kuru Vamsha, they were standing on their balconies from their palaces, on top of their palaces they are standing, and they were all doing Pushpa Vrishti very shyly. They never came out onto the road to see Krishna close by, because this is all Pativrata ladies, So they don't, even though Krishna is very dear to everyone, all these Hastinapura ladies, they were all very chaste and very shy, So they were maintaining their distance and offering, flowers to Krishna. Arjuna took up one huge jeweled umbrella to hold over Krishna's head. And Uddhava on one side and Sataki on one side, they were doing, doing Chamara Seva for Krishna. And it is said that here and there were heard benedictions being paid to Krishna, which were neither befitting nor unbefitting, because they were all for the Absolute, who was now playing the part of a human being. So, some of the sages who were there, present there, they were also giving some benedictions. Some elders, they were also pronouncing some benedictions, like some anugraha they are giving. So Suta Goswami says, now there is no question of whether it is fitting or unfitting, because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How can someone give him benediction? Is it right or is it wrong? Suta Goswami says neither right nor wrong, because it is wrong. Why? Because he is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It is right. Why? Because he is playing as a human being. So when they are looking at Krishna as a mere human walking among them, as a younger, family younger, they are giving some benediction. Very fitting, nothing wrong. But if you look at it as somebody giving a benediction on the Supreme Personality of God, wrong. So like this, Suta Maharshi says. And then he says, then in the next 10 shlokas, there is this wonderful conversation or samvad of the Kauravendra Purastri. You know, Anyonyamasit Sanjalpa Uttama Shloka Chetasam Kauravendra Purastrinam Sarva Shruti Manoharaha. Suta Goswami says, standing on the balconies, Kauravendra Purastrinam Anyonyam Asit Sanjalpaha. The Kauravendra Purastrinam, the Kuru ladies standing on their balconies, Anyonyam Asid Sanjalpaha. Jalpa means speaking. Sanjalpa means speaking usefully. Prajalpa means speaking uselessly. So, Anyonyam Asit Sanjalpaha. Who? Kauravendra Purastrinam. What? Uttama Shloka Chetasam Sarva Shruti Manohara. They were talking about the Supreme Lord who is praised by Uttama Shloka. So, he is also called Uttama Shloka. Who? Krishna. Why? Because he is, all the stutis for Krishna are Uttama Shloka. And Suta Maharshi says, actually these ladies, Sanjalpa, talking to one another, was more beautiful than Sarva Shruti Manoharam. That is, if you take all the Shruti Vakyas, these ladies talking to each other was Manoharam. Srila Prabhupada says that anything sung in praise of Krishna is Shruti Mantra. And here these ladies are actually, you know, they are glorifying Krishna. The ladies, they are saying, you know, here he is, the original personality of Godhead, as we definitely remember him. He alone existed before the manifested creation of the modes of nature, and unto him only, because he is the Supreme Lord, living beings merge as if sleeping at night, their energy suspended. You see? So, it is not only that Sarva Shruti Manoharam, these ladies are also very well knowledgeable about Krishna's position. You know? So, they are actually glorifying Krishna in words that are equivalent to what is seen in Vedas. You know? They are talking about, you see, this is actually our Krishna who is just about to get onto that chariot. Look at him, you know, Pitambara Dharam. He is wearing his Pitambara and he has got this beautiful garland on his neck, and he is, you know, his dress, his kireet, everything. He is actually that Parama Purusha, you know, from him everything, from whom everything is created and on whom everything rests when there is dissolution. Like that they are talking, you know, and they are speaking actually Vedic truth here. And they continue to say that Lord is repeatedly giving material names and forms to fulfill the desires of the living entity, along with the revealed scriptures to reform them. So they are saying it is the Lord's arrangement that because of the repeated desires of the living entities, he keeps on giving them repeated material names and forms. So, whatever is happening, I again repeat, these are the words of the Kauravendra Purastrina. That is why Suta Maharshi said, Sarva Shruti Manoharam. They are saying, it is that Krishna who is getting onto that chariot. Look at him. He is only giving these living entities repeated births and repeat different forms. Why? Because they desire for it. And along with that, he is also giving the revealed scriptures, the Shastra, so that they can reform themselves. And then they glorify. Sava ayam yat padamatra surayo jitendriya nirjita matarishwanaha pashyanti bhaktyut kalita malatmana nanvesha sattvam parimarshtumarhati. They are glorifying the bhakti as the best process for reformation, to purify and to experience the Lord's form. They are saying, Sava ayam yat padam atra surayo. This is that same Supreme Personality of Godhead who is actually the one experienced by Surayo, by the great devotees. And who are those great devotees? Jitendriya Nirjita Matarishwanaha, who are completely cleansed of material consciousness by dint of Pashyanti Bhakti Utkalita Amalatmana, because they have done devotional service and full control of their life and senses. They became Jitendriya by Bhakti Utkalita Amalatmana, by performing Bhakti. And that is the only way to purify. Nanvesha Sattvam Parimarshtum Arhati. The only way to actually become free from material contamination and be situated as Jitendriya is through rigid practice of Bhakti. Who is saying this? The ladies on the rooftop of Hastinapura. So, we must understand, although they were just, we should also know that this is just a casual conversation between the ladies, as Krishna is entering the chariot. You see? Then they are also saying, oh dear friends, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of Vedic literature by his great devotees. It is he only who creates, maintains and annihilates the material world and yet remains unaffected. Ya eka isho jagadatma leelaya srajatyavati atya na tatra sajjate vedeshu guhyeshu cha guhyavadibihi. That is, the truth, the hidden truth about the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vedeshu guhyeshu. So, some of these very confidential subject matters are not even revealed in Shruti Vakya, Srila Prabhupada says. Some of these most confidential subject matters about Krishna is only indicated in Veda, Shruti Vakyas and Brahma Sutras. That means some indication only is given by Vyasa Maharshi. And where is it given in reality? It is given in Bhagavata Purana. Srila Prabhupada is saying that, So, that most confidential form of the Lord, that is what they are seeing. Who? The ladies on the balcony of Hastinapura. Just for a moment, we can imagine how wonderfully fortunate these ladies are, So, not only that, the Vrajavasi Gopikas, they are the most fortunate, of course. Then the queens of Dwaraka, also very fortunate. Also this Kauravendra Purastrinam, because of Krishna's regular visits to Kauravendra Pura, to Hastinapura and Indraprastha, they have also got, they have understood, you see. So, just to establish how fortunate all these personalities are. And they are saying, and that Lord has descended into this material world to punish irresponsible kings and to show mercy to the faithful and to perform wonderful activities. So they are saying he has come actually for what? To punish, which he has already done. Kamsa, Shishupala, Dantavakra, Duryodhana plus, infinity. All done. Mercy to the faithful. which is what he is doing even now as he leaves for Dwaraka. Previously also he has done. And to perform wonderful activities. So, Srila Prabhupada says, the Lord actually performs wonderful activities to please his bhaktas and to show everyone that I am not ordinary. I am not ordinary. That is why he says in Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma cha me divyam evam yo veti tattvadha tektva devam punarjanmaneti mameti so Arjuna. So to understand Janma karma is divyam is very great ability, is a very great achievement if we can understand. So in order to make us understand and in order to show the agnostic, look, God means this is what I do. So he simply used an army of monkeys to build a bridge across an ocean. They would all write his name, throw a stone into the water and it will float. Wonderful activity. Who can replicate? Nobody can replicate. Held a mountain on a little finger for a week. Who can replicate? Nobody can replicate. Even as a small child, not even started walking, killed Putana, Aga, Baka, Tranavarta. Every one of them a wonderful activity that cannot be imitated. Then went and defeated Bhaumasura and accepted 16,100 Kanyakas. Simply because they lifted their hands and said that nobody will accept us. So he accepts them. Wonderful activity that cannot be replicated. So Prabhupada says, yes, he has done all these things so that on one hand it increases the devotee's appreciation. The bhakta gets, Divya Ananda, transcendental bliss that devotee of Krishna gets when he hears all these activities of the Lord, and then also to show the others, look, this is what I do. Can you replicate? So these ladies are discussing, this is that Krishna. And then they are now saying, Aho alam shlaghyatamam yadokulam, aho alam punyatamam madhorvanam, yadesha pumsam rishabashriyah pati, swajanmana chankramanena chanchati. Aho alam shlaghyatamam. That means yadokulam. They are saying how glorious that Yadukula has become. Shlaghyatamam means, Shlaghya means to appreciate, to glorify. So, how glorious that Yadukulam has become. And Aho alam punyatamam. The most punya, the purest of place, Madhorvanam, Mathura. Mathura has become the purest of the places. Yadesha pumsam Rishabha, the leader of all men. And who is he? Shriyapati, the husband of the Lord, goddess of fortune, Lakshmi Devi Shriya. Shriyapati means husband of Lakshmi. Saeva saj swajanmana chankramanayana cha anchati. So he took birth, and wandered in his childhood. Where? In Mathura. Where did he take birth? In the Yadukula. So they are saying, so the Yadukula became very glorious. Mathura became the purest of places. And they are saying Dwaraka is actually more glorious than Swarga. Why? Because in Swarga all you will get is the Kataksha of Indra. In Dwaraka you will get the Kataksha of Krishna. So every Dwarakavasi is, unlimitedly more fortunate than all the people who are in Swargaloka. These ladies are saying, Vrindavan, Mathura, Dwaraka, these three places are very, very special because the Supreme Lord actually walked through these lands, And any seva that is done in these places is magnified multiple times. So, these Stri Jana, they are glorifying. And then they are glorifying all the Patnis of Krishna in Dwaraka. They are saying all those wives of Krishna, how much of vows they would have done and purified themselves. In where and where they would have taken holy bath, and how many fire sacrifices they would have done. And how perfectly they would have done puja, to constantly relish the nectar of Krishna's lips. These Kauravendra Strinam, they are saying, just to get the nectar from Krishna's lips directly. Just imagine how much of tapasya, how much of purificatory activities, how much of puja, perfect puja, these ladies who are now married to Krishna, what and what they would have done, And these Kauravendra Purusrinams are saying that the gopis would just faint even when they think of expecting such favor from Krishna, So the Swakiya Bhava and Parakiya Bhava are both indicated here by this Kauravendra Purusrinam, because the Gopika girls were all married to other, whereas the Dwaraka Patnis are all married to Krishna. So they have sort of a rightful expectation from Krishna of his, transcendently romantic dealings. Whereas the Gopastris, they have not legal expectation of a transcendently romantic interaction with Krishna. So both are indicated by these ladies of Hastinapura, saying that, how fortunate they are. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that this should not be mistaken as some kind of cheap romantic activity. It is not. It is Divya Prema of all these bhaktas with Krishna. Each one of those queens of Dwaraka, they have a very special place in Krishna Leela. And they cannot be compared to some, ordinary women. So we should not do that. We should be very, very careful that Rukmani Devi is actually Sakshat Lakshmi Devi only, So we cannot compare them with any of the ordinary women in the material world. And the Kauravendra Purastri, they are glorifying all the queens of Krishna. And they are remembering, they are saying, the mother of Pradyumna, the mother of Samba, the mother of Amba, they are saying, they were all snatched away by Krishna. Rukmani was snatched, practically snatched. When we read Rukmani Apaharan, they say Rukmani Swayamvaram. Actually, Swayamvara never took place only. Before she reached the Swayamvara place, Krishna already took her away, Srimad Bhagavatam explains, in the 10th canto it is explained that just like a lion pouncing on its prey, Krishna's chariot comes, in the speed of wind and, just grabs Rukmani onto his chariot and takes her away. So the Kauravendra Purastrinam, these three ladies of Hastinapura, they are, remembering, how fortunate these queens were, and that, Satrajit, how he gave away Satyabhama, and how Jambavati was won over after defeating Jambavan. So many of Krishna's marriages were all very, very adventurous, And the 16,100 wives also, after a very ferocious war, Krishna won the war and he accepted all these wives. So they are saying, so just imagine, and the mercy of Krishna on each and every one of these queens is so great, because all of them are getting the same attention from Krishna. So like this, these ladies were standing on the balconies of their antapuras, and they are talking like this, and Krishna looking up, very mercifully and smiling, because he is hearing all these things, So just imagine that scene, how fortunate these ladies of Hastinapura were, that they could actually glorify Krishna with these wonderful shlokas. Sarvashruti Manoharam. As good as any Shruti Vakya, as beautiful as any Shruti Vakya, these ladies could glorify Krishna as he was leaving. So, Krishna, smiling at them, got onto the chariot and the chariot started moving. So, Yudhishthira Maharaj had arranged all 4 divisions, the cavalry, the elephants, the foot soldiers, like that, horse-drawn soldiers, everybody was accompanying Krishna. One division of his army was accompanying Krishna because for the security of Krishna. Again, because Krishna is a king and it is Yudhishthira's Maryada that he is doing. And for quite a distance, because Pandavas, they don't want to leave Krishna. So they also accompany Krishna in their chariots behind, and after quite a distance, Krishna will say, now please go back, you have to take care of your country, I have to go. Like that. So, they were all, feeling so much separation, but somehow Krishna convinced them, they all come back. And then Krishna passes through so many of the various places, He is passing through Kurujankala, Panjala, Charusena, and on the bank of the river Yamuna, Brahmavarta, Kurukshetra, Matsya, Saraswata, and all these places Krishna crosses. And after crossing these provinces, he gradually reached the Sauvira and Abhira provinces. And then west of these, he is reaching Dwaraka at last. And during the course of his travel, Suta Goswami says that every day evening, Krishna would stop, at a particular place for his Sandhya Vandana and all his evening duties, like that, and he was proceeding. So there should not be, Prabhupada says there should not be any misunderstanding as to whether is Krishna supposed to do all these duties, whether then what kind of a Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna is. But the fact of the matter is that whatever Krishna is doing is for everybody in the world, for the benefit of everybody in the world. In 2 ways. One, whatever Krishna acts is for benefits of others only. Krishna never acts for his own benefit. It is not required. And secondly, if Krishna does not offer oblations, if Krishna does not offer ablutions, if Krishna is not doing his Sandhya Vandana, then everybody will say, why should I do? So it is said that whatever Krishna does is also as an example of what a ruler should do, what a Kshatriya should do, what a king should do, what a husband should do. With the 16,108 wives, Krishna always reciprocated with all of them equally. Prabhupada writes that providing for all their requirements equally, making all of them equally happy. And whenever each one of them had some specific request, Krishna would fulfill that also. Prabhupada gives the example of Krishna going and getting the Parijata for Satyabhama. So like that, whenever any one of his wife had any specific request, Krishna would fulfill that also. So Krishna is showing that as a husband, this is how you do. As a father, this is how you do. As a king, this is how you do. And as Bhakta Vatsala, this is how you do. So everything about Krishna and his relationship with the Kurus, specifically the Pandavas, is very, very noteworthy as to see how the Lord goes out of his way to care for those devotees who are actually feeling very surrendered to him, who are actually in a mood of dainya always, in a mood of humility, as servants, as dependent on his mercy. Pandavas, although they were very great Kshatriyas, they had all the prowess and everything, but they never made any show of their prowess. Rather, they always were resting on the confidence that they are depending on Krishna and Krishna will not let them down. You know. So this is Krishna's unique equation with the Pandavas. So that also is shown through this chapter where it speaks about how each one of them, you know, they feel as Krishna is leaving. And it is not only the Pandavas and Kunti, because they are all intimately related with Krishna. Even all the Pativratas of Hastinapura, they also had that strong attachment towards Krishna as a familial relative as well as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So this is Krishna's unique relationship with his devotees in that bhava in Dwaraka and in Hastinapura. So that is what gets discussed in this chapter. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Bhagavatam Granth Raj ki jai.